Welcome back. We are officially 19 weeks in. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have been here. One topic, one teaching moment, one shift that changed how your business operates. If you are just joining us, here's what you need to know. I spent over 40 years in the federal government in logistics and contracting, with the last 21 of those years as a contracting officer on the other side of the table, evaluating proposals, managing about 143 billion in federal contracts, advising over 11,000 contractors, and watching businesses win big or fall apart before they ever got started. This challenge takes everything I've learned and puts it directly in your hand. Now, what I saw was this. The businesses that won the work were not the ones with the biggest vision statement or the loudest founder. They were the ones with a plan clear enough that when the solicitation dropped, they could read section L, read section M, and respond point for point without scrambling. Section L tells you what to and how to submit. Section M tells you how the source selection authority is going to evaluate what you submit. Now, the offerer's job is to respond to L in a way that scores against M, and that only happens cleanly when the plan already exists inside the business. The proposal was not the plan. The proposal was the artifact of a plan that already existed. And today is week 19, 1 week from the finish line, and this is the one that makes or breaks the last 8 weeks of everything we have built. But before we get into today's topic, here's what has moved this week. And this is a list, it's not theoretical, the various policies as relates to our policy puzzle, okay? So 2 of these are items on the calendar within the next 5 days. The plan you do not have is the reason these deadlines might feel like you're being ambushed right now. So first, and this is new this week, Acquisition.gov posted FAR Overhaul model deviations for parts 9, 12, 22, 52, implementing Executive Order 14398. Now, this is the piece almost no one is talking about, and it is the piece that matters most. FAR 9.4 has been updated to include failure to comply with FAR 52222-90 as a cause for debarment or suspension. Table 12-3 now includes 5222-90 for commercial acquisitions. Now, subpart 22.22 defines the policy. And FAR 52.244-6, the commercial subcontract clause, it now flows 52.222-90 down to subs. And what this means practically is that 52.222-90 is not just a clause you sign or negotiate anymore. Non-compliance is now debarment eligible. That means how you evaluate the clause, how you flow it down, and how you document, your posture is very important and critical. So please make sure you are confirmed with counsel as relates to this particular clause. The second thing is FAR 52.222-90, that information collection comment window, it closes on Monday. That's 5 days from today. GSA information collection notice for the Executive Order 14398 contract-like instrument reporting is open until then. Now, this is the public comment window on the reporting burden. So if the SF30 modification workflow, the identification of contract-like instruments, or the reporting mechanics are going to hit your business, this is your chance to tell the FAR Council what it actually costs you. Again, comments to this is, you put your comments on regulation.gov, GSA Docket 2026-0166. So that's the docket you need to be responding to. The third thing is FAR case 2026-002, information collection comment window also closes on Monday. Again, that's the same day. 2 things now we see are closing on Monday. The FAR Council's Revolutionary FAR Overhaul information collection notice on FAR Part 6, 7, 10, 18, 26, 37, and 41. Now, this is your chance to comment on the burden estimates and to propose ways to reduce them. Now, if your business touches Section 8A sole source authority, service contract inventory reporting, acquisition planning, or emergency acquisition rules, this window closes in 5 days. The fourth thing, SBA critical supplier prize competition. This critical suppliers prize competition proposals are actually due on Friday, August the 21st. That's 2 days out from today. It's up to $20 million. It's non-dilutive capital. As many as 6 prizes are up to $6 million are anticipated for small businesses that can rapidly scale domestic production. So if your business is a critical supply chain firm and you did not know this was open, that is week 19 diagnostic. That is what happens when you do not have a plan for scanning capital opportunities on a schedule. So 9 days ago, I told you this was on the table. Now you have 48 hours. The fifth thing is the DFAR's case 2021-D011. That's the FOC expansion. Explain that's the final rule is still anticipated by October the 1st. So that's 6 weeks out. The Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agencies has told industry the rule will apply to about 35,000 unclassified contracts covering roughly 37,740 entities. So if you are a DoD contractor or subcontractor with covered work above $5 million, your SF3-328 disclosure, your entity registration in this, your 90-day mitigation clock, your 3-day FOC change report, and your beneficial ownership updates are all landing this fall. So the window to prepare is now, not on October the 2nd. The next thing is CMMC Reform Task Force. That RFI closed Friday, August the 14th. And this is just a timeline update. Recommendations now are expected late September. DoD structured the review as 60 days of industry feedback plus 15 days for the task force to write recommendations. So that pushes the earlier September 13 target out to roughly the last week of September. Phase 2 third-party certification remains suspended, but, and this is the point almost everyone gets wrong, Phase 1 self-assessment continues. NIST SP 800-174 Revision 2 continues. DFARS 252.204-7012 continues. SPRS scoring continues. Annual affirmations continue. If your plan for cybersecurity is wait and see what phase 2 looks like, you have no plan. The seventh thing is FAR 52.222-90. It continues to be an execution issue. So the July 24 target, of course, it has passed. Modifications remain at the contracting officer's discretion for contracts expiring by 31st of December of this year. New solicitations continue to include the clause. Bilateral modifications continue to flow. The any tier flow down continues, now formally reinforced by the FAR 52.244-6 update. Now, the eighth thing, and this is the last thing we're tracking in policy this week, is the SBA capital environment. It stays open. SBA policy notice 5000-879058 is the actual instrument, the coordination clarification for 7A and 504 maximum loan limits, effective July the 4th. Read that as your 7A balance up to the maximum does not reduce what is available to you under 504. And 504 project can now include multiple eligible assets. So this is a real change to how you stack capital. The modernized SBA.gov has been live since July the 30th. So if your growth plan for FY27 does not have a capital line, again, this is the window. Now, before we go further, ask yourself, honestly, how many of those 8 items were already on a written plan you or your team maintain? And, just drop a number in the chat. Now, the pattern I want you to see is, the FAR Overhaul model deviations went up on Acquisition.gov in May. The August 21st deadline was announced 13 days ago. The August 24 deadlines were announced 55 days ago. The FOSI rule, final rule, has been signaled for a year. CMM phase 2 suspension is 5 weeks old. None of this is surprise. All of this is publicly noticed. The reason it feels like an ambush to some is not the federal government moves fast. It is that you do not have a plan for scanning, sorting, deciding, and executing on the information that is already public. And so week 19 diagnostic is this. You do not have a clear plan. And in GovCon, the business that do not have a plan are the businesses that get to quarter 4 and discover they lost a year in quarter 2. So the real problem, you say, okay, well, what is the real problem, Dr. Lori? The real problem is undisciplined businesses treat planning as an event. They do an annual offsite. They build a strategic plan that lives on page 47 of a slide deck nobody ever opens. A few weeks ago, we called that decoration, right? They put ambitious numbers on the wall in January, and by June, the numbers have quietly disappeared from every conversation. Disciplined GovCon businesses treat planning as a rhythm, not an event, a rhythm. Because in federal contracting, the environment shifts constantly. FAR clauses changes, DFAR clauses change, SBA loan ceilings change, set aside programs change, executive orders land, task orders drop, bilateral modifications arrive with a 30-day response window. So if your plan was written in January and you have not touched it since, the plan is actually fiction. So here's what a clear plan looks like in a federal small business. It is not a document. It is 4 things you can produce on demand. The first thing is a written 90-day objective that is specific enough that at any point in that 90 days, a member of your team could tell an outside auditor what you are trying to accomplish. It's not a grow the business, a specific outcome by a specific date with owners. That's a 90-day objective. The second thing is a written capability statement that lines up with the market, with what the market is actually buying right now. Not, what you wanted to sell 3 years ago. What the contracting officers you have relationships with are procuring in the next 4 quarters. This changes, and your capability statement has to change with it. The third is a written bid, no bid rule, a page, not a feeling, a rule, so that when the RFP hits your inbox, you're not spending 3 days in a group text deciding whether to pursue. You've already decided the rule. You are just applying it. And the fourth thing is a written weekly operating rhythm. Bid, no bid meeting on a set date. You got a compliance checkpoint on a set day. Capture pipeline review on a set day. CPAR's narrative capture on a set day. Cash in capacity check on a set day. Same days every week. A written agenda. The plan is the meeting, and the meeting is the plan. If you cannot produce those 4 things on demand right now, today in the middle of week 19, you do not have a plan. You have a hope. And I have seen more veteran-owned and women-owned and others set-aside firms, actually any side firm. You're going to lose the game to a plan gap than to any competitor. Because the competitor with the plan wins the option year. The competitor with the plan wins the recompete. The competitor with the plan, they're already positioned for FY 2027. While you and everyone else is still trying to clean up FY 2026. So week 11 through 18 were the diagnostic. Stall, doing too much, no results, no systems, survival mode, no discipline, guessing, freedom without structure. And week 19 is the actual pivot from diagnosis to a plan. And here's how you build it. It's just 4 moves. I mean, you ain't got to spend all day at it. It's 4 moves, nothing dramatic, right? And all of them are producible this week. You do not need software. You do not need a consultant. You need 1 hour 4 times. The first thing is that you're going to write a 90-day objective that fits 1 page, not a strategic plan, a 90-day objective between now and November the 19th. What is the one measurable outcome your business is going to produce? A specific proposal submitted, a specific certification completed, a specific contract vehicle onboarded. You got a specific past performance narrative that you done built, a specific hire that you made, one outcome, specific, dated, owned. If 4 members of your team cannot recite the objective from memory by next Wednesday, it is not clear enough. Go back to the table and rewrite it until it is. Okay. Second thing is you're going to rebuild your capability statement against what your market is actually buying now. So pull the last 3 months of solicitations under your NATES. Look at the actual scope language. Look at the actual set aside designations. Look at the actual contract vehicles agencies are using and ask, does my capability statement reflect what these contracting officers are buying or what I wanted to sell in 2024? Rewrite one section this week, the section closest to the work you actually want, and then use it in your next contracting officer meeting. The third thing is write a one-page bid, no bid rule, not a scoring matrix, a rule. Something like, we pursue when the RFP fits our top 3 NATES, when a set-aside matches our certification. We pursue when we have a direct or a team past performance. We pursue when we can meet the timeline without disrupting current delivery. And we pursue when the estimated award exceeds our minimum revenue threshold. Whatever your rule is, it's written, one page, signed by the founder. So the next time an RFP hits, the decision is a lookup, not a debate. And then the last thing I want you to do is set your weekly operating rhythm. 5 recurring meetings on the same days every week. You got a bid, no bid on Monday, compliance checkpoint on Tuesday, capture pipeline on Wednesday, CPAR's narrative on Thursday, cash and capacity on Friday. Of course, you can adjust the days to your business, but put them on the calendar this week with owners, agendas, and 30-minute time boxes. If your operating rhythm is we meet when there is a fire, then the fire is running your business. And for most of us, we're already burnt down, right? So what the great thing about this is that, hey guys, this is exactly the discipline the veteran proposal framework is built to institutionalize. In our July the 29th webinar session, From Capture to Submission, that session laid the readiness flow that turns a plan into an invaluable on-time proposal. Value, experience, teaming, and responsiveness, 4 dimensions federal evaluators actually score. So if your 90-day objective is a proposal submitted, VETR is the framework. If your objective is a past performance narrative, federal gives you the structure to build one. Registrants have the full replay set. Use it this week. Do not let it sit. We do intend to make the webinars available to everyone via my YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do so you can have access to the videos once they become available. So the weekly regulatory brief is the piece of the plan. We'll say for now that y'all done delegated to me, all right? So we got FAR 52-222-90, August the 24th. FAR case 26-002, August the 24th. FOC final rule, August the 1st. CMMC task force report, September the 13th. SBA capital environment, FAR council policy shifts, sources, deeper analysis, and the action items I give my advisory clients. They're in one place once a week, free for you to subscribe. And so the link is actually in the notes here. So please make sure that you click on that and obtain the information, on a weekly basis of the updates. The report is ran every Monday. I try to get it in there as soon as possible, but it is at least transferred and pushed over before this broadcast go live. Delegating the regulatory scan is what makes your 90-day objective achievable. So for now, leverage this free access to this information so that now you can use it to go, manage your 90-day objective. For 90 days, the objective could be, or for them, hey, we're going to review this policy updates on a weekly basis on whatever date and time. If Ms. Lori going to make sure that they're in by Wednesday, we won't have our review maybe before then. I'm just saying, so it could be something you can use for your 90-day objective to make it easier for you to get started. You cannot execute a plan while also, being your own research analyst. So that's a convenience of something that just may have just dropped in your lap. So that's one thing. Easy, get you started. Now choose something else, right? So, but before we close, I want you to be honest. Which one is your plan? Drop in the comments which with the hashtag plan. So whether it's hashtag plan objective gap, do you have a 90-day objective a team member could recite from memory? Your business is running on a wish list, not a plan. Is my hashtag market plan gap? Your capability statement has not been updated against current solicitations in the past 12 months. You are selling to a market that has already moved on. Is your hashtag the rule gap? Do you not have a written bid, no bid rule? Every RFP is a debate. You are losing time and losing opportunity because the decision is not pre-made. Write down your rule. Sign it, founder. Now, again, it's a lookup opposed to a debate. Do you have a plan rhythm gap? You do not have a written weekly operating rhythm. Meetings happen when there is a fire. Again, the fire is operating your system, or the fire is your operating system. And right now, we're just all running around crispy because we are burnt up. I'm just saying. And or you may be amongst the goals and aspirations we all have. Your plan is already real. You can produce all 4 artifacts on demand right now. Your team runs the rhythm. Week 19 diagnostic is not yours, but the discipline of maintaining it every quarter is. So the one that is yours is the one to build this week. And we have 1 week left in this challenge, so do not waste it. But if your plan is real, hey, share in the comments on the Facebook group how you go about doing it and what have you done so that you can encourage someone else. So Sowing Our Seeds Facebook group is where we work, or where the work actually continues between Wednesdays. Members have been posting their hashtag stall from week 11, the halfway audit scores, the delegate from week 12, hashtag progress from week 13, the systems from 14, whatever the hashtag for survival is from 15, discipline from 16, execute from 17, hashtag freedom from week 18 last week, and now is hashtag plan for this week. So again, come in, share with us how you are achieving these various hashtags, or if you learned an easier way to make it more efficient and you don't mind sharing, just share in the comments in the Facebook group so you can help someone else. Again, come share, come read what others are saying, and come find your accountability partner for the final week. Next Wednesday, August the 26th at 2 p.m. is week 20. The finale is you are ready for the next level, but unsure how. So bring your plan. We finished this challenge actually together. Now, here's what I want you to leave with on today. A plan is not a wish list. A plan is not a strategic document. A plan is 4 things you can produce on demand: an objective, a market current capability, bid no bid rule, and a weekly operating rhythm. Everyone in this industry says they have a plan. Very few can produce these 4 things when I ask. The businesses that can produce them are the businesses that are winning option years, expanding into new NAICS, moving up the value chain, and building past performance that carries them into that next tier of work. So you have 1 week left in this challenge, and honestly, a lifetime to keep applying it. If week 11 through 18 diagnose the problem, week 19 is the pivot to plan, and week 20, next Wednesday, is the ready posture that carries you into quarter 4 for 2026 and FY27. Do the 4 moves, write the 90-day objective this week, rewrite 1 section of the capability statement this week, draft the bid, no bid rule this week, and set the weekly rhythm, your weekly operating rhythm this week. All 4, because if you leave here today without the plan, you will get to the next Wednesday's week 20 with the same gaps. So again, do the work as we go so that you're building from one week to the next week or from one brick to the next brick. So see you next Wednesday, 26th of August at 2 p.m. Eastern for the final live. Again, this is Dr. Lori Smith. I'm the CEO and founder of Acquisition LLC and the founder of So NRC's Empowerment, and we will see you next Wednesday. So goodbye, everyone.